We're kicking off our podcast series talking to all of the 2026 PMEA All-State guest conductors and coaches on today's PMEA's Take Note podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. I am Mark Despotakis, and we are starting our series talking to all-state guest conductors, all-state coaches. We're going to have a whole series of these coming up to you in the next weeks leading up to the PMEA All-State Festival in April. So we're starting with the newest All-State ensemble, Modern Band. And this is the first year for the All-State Modern Band. And this year we have two coaches of the Modern Band, and I'm delighted to bring them in, Dr. Bryan Powell and Dr. Raina Murnak. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey,
thanks for being with us, and thanks for taking on this task of the very first PMEA Modern Band. So let's start before we get into talking about that. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Sure, I'll go first. Bryan Powell, I wear a couple hats, as we both do. I'm an associate professor of music education at Montclair State, where I work in the music ed department, and I also coordinate the recording arts and production degree, teaching classes in popular music, music technology, and the kind of pedagogies around them. I'm also the chief program officer for Music Will, the nonprofit organization that helps support expanding access to music education to more students through Modern Band. And I also wear the hat as the founding executive director of the Association for Popular Music Education, which has a mission to support and promote popular music at all levels. So lots of different roles, but they all kind of overlap in similar ways. And I will hand it over to my friend and co-coach and colleague, Raina.
Yes, and I'll take that hat because I'm the current president of APME. I am also here at the University of Miami, where I am the head of contemporary voice and performance artistry and the program director for the Masters of Popular Music Pedagogy. Outside of that, I'm an artist myself, a performer, and a coach, working with artists on breaking them out of their shells and bringing out the best, most compelling, authentic performances that I can get out of people. And I'm very excited to work with the students of Pennsylvania.
And we are requiring you to bring the warm weather with you when you come here.
Please.
I will.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about the Modern Band, a first year for this. So let's start off right by talking something that's a little different from all of the other all-state ensembles. The musical program. Tell us about this process and how this is going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the opportunities in Modern Band is to be able to create music with students that's relevant to their musical and personal identities. And so unlike other honor groups where maybe the directors choose the repertoire that's going to be played, Raina and I are going to be working alongside the students, and the students are going to make the selections for the music that they play. So this involves pulling them about their favorite bands and artists. We have conversations about the diversity of songs and approaches that we would love to feature in genres. And then the students vote on it, and we take the ones that get the most votes. And then it's our job between Raina and myself to help the students kind of realize their vision for these songs. And so the students might want to do kind of a note for note recreation of the song as close to the original recording as possible. But oftentimes they want to create their own arrangements. And so we kind of give them the opportunity to make decisions around, how do we want to start the song? Do we want to add another solo? Do we want to cut that instrumental break? Do we want to do a mashup at the end? And so a lot of the kind of fun creative process happens when we're coming together, because the students are working on songs that hopefully mean something to them and that they're excited about. And then it's our opportunity to say, okay, how do we make this happen? We have a short amount of time to rehearse together. And so if the students show up, they know the songs, they've figured out the keys, they've been communicating about the opportunities and the arrangements. Then when we come together, that's when I hand it over to Raina and I'm like, make magic happen. And then she works on all of the kind of performance artistry and harmonies and allow stage presence. You know, as students are learning songs, oftentimes they're in their rooms kind of figuring it out, but that's different than being in an ensemble with a group. And so we kind of are able to focus on all those things when we come together for the short rehearsal time right before the performance.
I was just going to add to that. Also, I mean, think of how different this model is than everything else. I know certainly I'm from New York. And when I was going into the All-State Choir, I had a packet of music and I was studying this, and I knew what the experience was going to be when I showed up. I think that if I could put one thing into this, I think that the modern band is about leadership training and entrepreneurship because they're making sometimes mid-game decisions about this isn't good enough, we're cutting it, and oh my god, sorry, you had a solo here, let's put you here. And when I say they, that's not Bryan or myself. We really want to empower these students to be in as much of a real situation as possible, as if they were a band who knew each other, they're singing each other. So and sometimes we have true leaders emerge from these programs who have led they're almost like the manager of the band. So I just think that it's just such a unique way for young people who don't necessarily know each other to really find their power.
Yeah, interesting. And what I really find interesting about it is like the pre-work. There's a lot more pre-work for the students. I mean, well, maybe not a lot more. It's very different than, as you pointed out. If I'm in the wind ensemble, I'm practicing my clarinet part, but this is a whole different mindset for these students. So it's a whole different learning landscape that you're doing in modern band, which is really interesting to hear about that. So you talk a little bit about like that student experience. Can you talk a little bit more about, what do you hope that the students will get out of this experience in the first ever All-State Modern Band?
All right, Raina, you go first for this one.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, I hope that they come out of this with a stronger sense of confidence, self-efficacy, trust in their ability to make decisions. Not necessarily that they know the decision they're going to make, but they can trust that in a pressurized situation, which is what performance is, right? That they're going to have the wherewithal and courage and strength and skill set to comport themselves in a way that will get them through that moment. So to me, really, it's really about building confidence and, like I said before, leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's cliche, but it's like, we want them to have fun. We want them to be able to connect with other people. It's a really special environment where we come together, we rehearse all day, then we rehearse most of the next day, and then we perform, and then probably this group of musicians will never perform together again. And so making sure that we're helping the students be prepared, so in that moment they're not nervous, they're not freaking out about things, they're not trying to remember things, they can be present in the moment, they can connect with other musicians on stage. And then, Raina and I are just in the audience as their biggest fans, dancing along and, supporting them, because it's a really special opportunity that PMEA has provided for these students to come together and to be able to create and connect and to be able to sing harmonies with someone that you just met 24 hours ago, and share solos with people that you might not get to collaborate with again. And so a lot of that kind of performance artistry and positive psychology and things that Raina was mentioning, it's all part of the process in empowering students to make decisions and then hopefully perform something that they're really excited about.
So, normally I ask an All-State conductor, like, what is this like for you to stand in front of this ensemble? You've just defined a bit that that's not really how it's going to work. So I'm curious, though, in your heads, what is it like for you to come together with this group of students who not only have probably never met, who've never performed together, certainly, who, just decided together over the course of a couple of weeks what they're going to perform, how they're going to do it. You're going to be making changes on the spot. What is it like for you in those roles?
I think I could answer for Bryan, and it's super emotional. Him and I become their coach, their parent. We have seen many miracles, like students who their teachers would come to us and say, you don't understand, this person does not speak in class and she's doing a solo right now. So we're going to cry, we're going to dance, we're going to match. So there's a lot, there's a lot of direction that we could take this answer, but it's such a proud moment to know, and maybe it's because of my musical theater training, as the crazier the pre-show, the better the show, right? So in dealing with obstacles and things that are difficult and compressed time, to see them create diamonds out of that pressure, it's so satisfying to me as a coach and as a teacher to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, Raina and I have both directed kind of more traditional ensembles, and by the time you get to the performance, the work's done. You've rehearsed the parts, you've done the things, and you're just trying to be present in that moment. And that's something that we want for our students. You know, it's real active facilitation. You know, Raina in the rehearsal is okay. She's going to take some of the vocalists out into the hallway, and I'm going to be working with the instrumentalists, and we're going to go try to find that student who might not be feeling included, and we're going to try to get them in. And then sometimes Raina and I purposely, we're sitting back because we're waiting for that epiphany moment to happen for the students. We could come in and be like, oh, actually, this is where, you know, remember, we're adding another measure here, but letting them kind of problem solve and reach that on their own is going to be more powerful. And so sometimes we're purposely sitting back and like, I think they'll figure this out. And so all of that kind of is part of the pedagogy, so that when the performance comes, truly, we're in the audience. The students will say, hey, we're the first ever PMEA All-State Modern Band. We're so excited to be here. Get up out of your seats if you want to dance. And then the drummer comes in, and in between songs, they've rehearsed the choreography, because we have different people playing different things at different times and different vocalists being supported. And so in that way, we want it to be like a concert. We're not going to get up and say, hey, the next tune is going to be blank. By then it's run and led by the students, and we're just there as supporters and fans and proud parents and all of that sort of thing. So it's a really special process, and one that I'm grateful that I can do it with Raina, and grateful for PMEA to kind of create this space for us to be able to work with these students.
All right. So in the next few weeks leading up to the All-State Festival, you'll be communicating with these students. They're going to get to know you. But what is the one thing that you would want them to know about you? Maybe to put a little bit in context, and Brian's already smirking, so I can only imagine what the answer is. What would be the one thing you would want the students to know about you? I always say before that first arrival in the Poconos, but I mean, maybe even before you start this process of meeting with them.
Brian, you're going first since you're smirking.
Well, I'm always smirking because I'm trying to imagine what Raina's going to say next. I mean, I think like they'll get to know us when they arrive, but we're normal people that play in bands and like pop music and are friends, and we joke with each other. And so, sometimes, now I didn't make All-State like Raina did, because, I wasn't that good at trombone. But like in the honor ensembles that I did participate, there is an element of like, oh, well, the director is somehow different than me as the student, and I'm a kind of a cog in this machine, and the director's there, and we're here, and that's how, and there's a power dynamic. But Raina and I, we ask the students to call us Bryan and Raina. We don't want the students calling us Dr. Powell and Dr. Murnak. We're Raina and Bryan. We're musicians. We like music. We're in this with them. And so it's a very collaborative experience. And I think sometimes we say that, and then the students are like, well, but we know what the teacher's role is, and you'll be directing us. And then the first time that they rehearse something and it falls apart, and they look at us, and we say, oh, don't look at us, talk to each other. How come that fell apart? Where did that go? Oh, okay. And then they start building up that familiarity of like, can we go out in the hallway and fix this? Or can we do this? Or can we try this thing? Raina and I'd be like, yeah, let's try it and see what happens. And so I think as the students are preparing, we're super excited. We're musicians. We have ideas, but we're just normal instrumentalists and vocalists and musicians who are excited about this opportunity. And there's not this kind of like director student power dynamic. This is their ensemble that we want them to own and run with.
Yeah, I mean, all of what Brian said, really. I mean, but I think I personally feel that when I am with students and with performers, I'm going to go harder than anybody. And if I, with my old self, can still get up there and do that in a same situation. Now, of course, I have experience and I do this, but I want them to feel I do that because if I'm asking someone to do that, I have to also be willing to be as vulnerable and as bought in, and it needs to matter as much to me. So I think what I would like them to know is I'm here to help you be a bigger version of yourself. And a stage version of you is an amplified version of you, you know? And that might be the first time some of these students are in that kind of feature, right? So it's not comfy or safe, but I'm going to be right there with you, doing it with you until I'm in the audience dancing. So I think it's going to be really fun, but part of being fun is preparing. So like, the more you work hard on your thing, whether it's memorizing lyrics, learning parts, being comfortable with key changes, the more fun you're going to have.
All right. Well, Bryan and Raina, thanks for taking some time to talk to us. We are looking forward to seeing what this very first PMEA All-State Modern Band looks like. And we're counting down the days until we are all in the Poconos and Raina brings us the warm weather from Florida. I'm holding her to that. It's on tape. Thank you both for being with us.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks for having
so
us. Pleasure.
much.
And thank you all for being with us on this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. Stay tuned. We're going to be releasing more podcasts with all of the 2026 PMEA All-State guest presenters. We'll see you next time.